Fight, where we speak our truth, slay sacred cows, and sometimes agree to disagree. This is an outdoor podcast that aims for the head. I'm Colin True, and joining me today, he's excited about his Rams getting a home game against the Vikings, even though it won't matter. It's Justin Hausman!
Have we ever actually agreed to disagree on this show? I hate that. God, you know what?
Yeah, you've said, I've heard you say I disagree with that lots of times.
My next parting shot, maybe today, will be, I hate the phrase agree to disagree. I just hate it. I don't know why. I mean, it works. It works so well. Like, it means exactly what it does. It couldn't be more clear, but it just drives me nuts. Yeah, I don't, you know what's weird? I've watched football since I was born, right? I don't ever remember a time when they had to go to like the fifth tiebreaker to be like, who are you going to play in the play? Like everyone's just like, oh yeah, okay, this is just how it works. Like I would be apoplectic if I'm a Seahawks fan, right? Like what? Because the teams the Rams beat were slightly better than teams that we beat. Like, can't we have like a playoff game? Baseball doesn't do that. Baseball would have another playoff game. They do it sometimes. They have like a game 163. So like, it's just weird to me that everyone's just like cool with it. Okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
All right, well, today we are going to talk about a few headlines come out of the outdoor community. A couple of them while we were on holiday break, if you want to call it that, over the last few weeks. But before we got that...
God, I wish it was a break. I wish it had been a break.
Before we get to that, got a couple housekeeping, programming reminders. We want your emails, guys. Oh, yeah, we can make the noise?
Housekeeping.
Just send your emails to myrockfight@gmail.com. You can send us feedback on episodes. If you have ideas, we said something that made you mad, especially those emails. We want those emails. So send your emails to myrockfight@gmail.com. Come back this Friday. That's this Friday, to the Rock Fight and hear my conversation with Matt Powell, the legendary analyst of the sports retail industry. Matt is coming on the show to offer his 2025 predictions for the outdoor and active space. We had our listen to Monday's episode where we had our top 5 footwear and the outdoor. We made our list of the top 5 footwear brands going in the outdoor industry right now. It's a pretty action-packed week around here on the old Rock Fight.
Now, will he be giving predictions about publicly traded outdoor brands? For those
no
of
insider
us who
trading.
Damn, is that inside? It's not insider. He just might know what's up. I guess that's insider.
He might know what's up. You can always edit that out. He said it. We didn't air it. He just said it into a microphone.
Yeah.
And I happened to take that information and make money with it.
It would actually, you know what we should do? We should do an episode that's just like invest, like if you could invest in brands, like which ones would you invest in?
That's a good idea.
I mean, obviously, I don't even know how many, very few probably are publicly traded, but like, or at least if they
pretend
are, they're part of a
are.
giant portfolio of something else. But like, yeah, if you just kind of pretend that each one is publicly traded, who would you invest in? I mean, I guess that's kind of what we did the other day. With our relegation system, but anyway, I think that'd be a fun one.
You want to talk about the newsletter?
I do. I put my initials up by it 3 times to remind myself. So, folks, you got to subscribe to our newsletter. The Rock Fight Weekly newsletter comes out on Tuesday.
Yesterday. In the future, right now. In the past, when this airs.
Dienstag, if you're for our German speakers out there, Tuesday. If not, you still have time to get our original Rock Fight content. This is a real newsletter. It's got real, unique, original content. It's not an outdoor link aggregator. It's not a here's what we covered. Well, it kind of is. But like this week in the show, there's some real deal stuff you can only find there. Real writing from legendary, luminary outdoor writers like myself, Justin Hausman, and other people who will write for us periodically. But anyway, it's a great newsletter. Colin has done a phenomenal job putting that thing together, building up a subscriber list. It looks great. It's fun to get. It's fun. I mean, like the whole point of everything we're doing on Rock Fight is to be fun and to gather the outdoor community that we don't feel like is gathering in other places. This is a great...
And to agree to disagree.
Yeah. Even if we need to find another phrase. But I don't know. I'm a huge... I don't know if you are, Colin. Obviously you are because you make one. But I mean, like generally speaking, I'm a giant fan of newsletters. I mean, in a lot of ways... I kind of expect that to be, to replace destination URLs in the future, where you just get your newsletter once a week from a media source, and that's how you get your content from them. But I love them. We love putting them together. I'll be writing something for tomorrow's real late this night, so that'll be fun. See how coherent I can be. But anyway, head to rockfight.co. You'll get a little pop up as you might expect, and you can just click join the mailing list right there to sign up. And I'll read the next part, too. If you're new around here, we would also love for you to subscribe and to join the Rock Fight by hitting the follow button on whatever podcast app you are listening to us on, and give us a 5-star rating. Please, 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 5-star rating, please.
Good job, buddy.
I think we deserve a 5-star rating.
I do like newsletters, but particularly, I like good newsletters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just because you send an email out that has some stuff in it doesn't mean it's a newsletter.
I agree with that. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Ones that are thoughtfully made. That's what I mean about, I think you'll probably maybe at some point stop having a destination URL. You'll just go, oh, I love Rockfight, right? Like every Tuesday I'm going to get my dose of Rockfight, and that's fantastic. Yeah. Like when I was a Defector subscriber and I'm not anymore, like I kind of stopped going to the website. I would just wait for the newsletter to come. So anyway,
Puck has good newsletters too.
Puck has great newsletters. Really, really good. I very rarely go to the site for that reason. It's like
exactly. I almost never. Actually, that's the thing that proves what you're talking about. I almost never go to puck.news. I get Matt Ballanese newsletter. I'm like, oh, I got everything I need. Or John Uran, all those things.
And that's the plan. We'll get you all hooked on our newsletter, and then it's $5 a month. And you know what? You're gonna have to deal with it, folks.
No.
Is that not okay? Yeah. Sorry.
All right, let's get into our first story today, and it's our top story, so you know that it's present. Well, you don't know because this is a new feature.
I guess it's not really breaking news. It's kind of breaking news.
Well, our top story today is presented by your hub for ultralight gear, Garage Growing Gear. We're going to tell you a little bit more about that in a second, but the lead story today is about the Park City Ski Patrol going on strike. It's kind of definitely the biggest story that came out over the holiday break, and it's still happening at the Park City Mountain Resort, coinciding with one of the busiest times of the year at any ski resort. The end of December. Park City Ski Patrol went on strike on December 27th, looking for higher wages.
By the way,
what's that?
That's my wife's birthday.
Oh, I'll tell her I said happy birthday.
I will.
Yeah. Now she and she's going to Park City Ski Patrol.
She's skiing at Park City, Utah right now.
They're going to recruit her.
Yeah.
So they're looking for higher wages from the owner of Park City, who is Vail Resorts. Patrollers want Vail to agree to a $2 increase to their base hourly wage. Data printed in Town Lift, which is a Park City online news site over the weekend, showed that given the season's snowpack in Park City, the mountain should have been at least 50% open, and due to the strike, only 18% of the resort was actually open.
That's terrain, is only 18% of the terrain is open? Is that what that means?
Correct, yeah. Okay. So, it's definitely impacting things. Lines get long during during this time of year anyway. They were particularly long. It wasn't, if you're at all in tune with what's happening in the outdoors, you've definitely seen the story, and you've definitely seen the video footage of how long the lines have gotten. I don't know. I don't like to talk about ski stories. I think most of the ski industry is kind of gross. My opinion is on the record about the role ski resorts play in our community. But it's undeniable how important resort skiing is to the outdoor community and the health of the industry and economy. But I don't know, man. What were your thoughts about the ski patrol going on strike in old PC?
My first thought was, holy crap, that's all ski patrollers make? Or at least that's the base pay, I guess.
Yeah.
But
they're trying to go from 23 bucks?
They're at 21. They're trying to go to
21 to 23. Yeah, right.
I mean,
right.
dude, like Park City is very affluent. I would, so it's got to be. I mean, if I walked across the street right now to my natural food grocery store, I'd make that. Like checking,
sure.
Like checking, as a checker. Like,
is the thing like you double it, right? Hourly rate, so basically $42K a year to like live in Park City. Like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah, unless you have 15 roommates, and like, yeah, I was really surprised about that. But as a dedicated non-downhill skier, there's no other way to say it. I'm just sickened by how much skiing costs. I'm sickened by all of it. Like Vail, Icon, whatever, paying $1,000 a year. I mean, I guess that's not that much, whatever, relatively speaking, I don't know, but paying $1,000 a year to go skiing, and then now you got to wait in lines everywhere. These companies make a fucking shitload of money. Clearly on the backs of like ski patrol. I mean, if I don't know, maybe I would think that ski patrollers are really damn important, right? Like for your enjoyment at a resort. I mean, that show forgive me, what is the YouTube channel called? Peak whatever.
Peak Rankings.
Peak Rankings, which is a huge deal,
I'll link
by the
in
way.
The show notes.
I've talked to a couple skiers about it since. That's a big YouTube channel. But I think it was maybe it wasn't. I don't remember if it was his show or something I read, but they talked a bit about how someone had to like wait forever for someone to come rescue them after like tearing ligaments in their leg, and they didn't even show up with a sled. So like I'm assuming like a healthy crew of like dedicated, happy ski patrollers is hugely important for your enjoyment on the mountain. So I just feel like ski patrollers go on strike, you give them whatever they want. Like who else is more important than that? You can always probably find kids to run the to be lifties or to run the snack bars or whatever, but like you got to pay the ski patrollers. I
would think the lifties should get $21 an hour.
Everybody should.
Like, I mean, Vail's live in these towns.
It in. Like it's raking it in.
Yeah, and I know we're not breaking any news, or it's a common opinion about the cost of these mountain towns, and it just. I don't know. This is a problem. The problem I think is the ski industry has here, and it's like, I could talk about how I like skiing, I don't like skiing, like this individual item. It's like your product is suffering. You are creating a product, ski world, that is probably a result of the Epic Pass, the Icon Pass, that is becoming. It's you're going to lose customers, and the funny thing is, there's been a huge boom coming out of COVID. Like they in that video by Peak Rankings, they talk about how basically the 2 years ago was the most visits ever to Utah ski resorts. And last year was a little bit lower than that, but it was still the second most visits ever. And you're creating this world where your product is going to suffer, and it's not a cheap product. So people are spending thousands of dollars to come to your resorts and to go skiing. And you have issues with you get raked over the coals for parking. You got to wait in lines even if there's no strike. And now you're trying to stay open. I mean, if anything else, you're just like out of desperation pay these folks because you are just getting killed in the press now too. Nobody is on your side.
I don't doubt that it costs a fortune to maintain these resorts. I mean, it's snowing less, making snow costs a lot. The season's probably smaller than it's ever been before. Like, I get all that. I'm not saying it doesn't cost a fortune, but also it probably wouldn't cost as much if you weren't building these mega resorts where you have 40,000 people on staff and
right.
Go maybe take a page from the old days where it was a much smaller experience, But anyway, I don't doubt that it costs a lot, but I guess I just feel like if you're going to eventually go down because you can't afford to keep your resort up, you got to pay everybody along the way, at least. You have to. I think one of the most interesting things about the video they're talking about the strike is if it's kind of making the case. Once again, the Peak Rankings video, it's making the case really that it's the explosion of popularity that is driving a lot of this. That the resorts can't keep up with it. They can't, infrastructure wise, they can't keep up with it. They can't keep up with it hiring wise, all that sort of stuff. And I don't doubt that's true. And frankly, I mean that's a huge part of the reason I don't surf as much anymore. I mean, watching that video where you're watching these lines and all the bullshit you have to deal with to go to get on a lift and all the shit that it requires to build one and all these the gates and everything. That's one of the reasons that me and so many people I know who love to surf have always kind of been skiing. I don't want to deal with that. I just go to the beach with a surfboard. No one tells me when I can, when I can't. I don't have to. I don't have to pay. All the sort of stuff. And it's man, you could not make more hurdles in front of someone trying to do something that they love than skiing does. And so, but that's a reckoning you're just gonna have to deal with, Ski World. I mean, we're dealing with it with surfing. My beaches that I used to surf all the time that were empty are crowded as shit, and it's that boom's happened everywhere. We talk about it with hiking, with biking, with everything, and it's okay, we broadcast to the world about how awesome all this stuff is to do, and this is the result, and it's totally fine. Everyone has the right to do it. So what are we going to do about it? I think things like the Bluebird Resort, which I could be wrong. I believe that went under, right? Didn't work.
Yeah,
awesome idea, like a backcountry only resort, that kind of thing. We need to start thinking outside the box. The ski world does anyway, for how to serve people that want to ski that can't. I love snow sports, love Nordic skiing, love snowshoeing, love all that sort of stuff. I've never learned how to ski, and I'm not really, other than last year when I made a big deal about how I was going to. I mean, 90% of the reason I don't care enough to learn is the cost. And I don't want my kids falling in love with skiing because it's going to cost so much. And that's a real big problem. So I don't know what you guys do about it, Ski World, but something needs to change. And, I don't know. I
don't know what's driving people to ski versus everything you described. You're not wrong. You're well, that's what I mean. So you're it's the break you particularly like is getting more crowded. It's but there are also lots of other places you can go, right? You can find. Maybe it's not the one you want to, but you could find. What's that?
I just go north. I mean, I was at Point Reyes yesterday, and there's nobody in the water because there's a couple of people got scared out by a shark a couple of days ago. But there's always somewhere else to go. Yeah.
Yeah, my wife and daughter and I went mountain biking this weekend, and we went to a really popular area, and it was it was annoying because it was popular, but also there was 1,000 other places within 20 minutes that we could have gone mountain biking and had none of that. With skiing, it's you got to go there. It is truly, and I've joked about this, but it's truly the amusement park of the outdoor adventure world because you got to go there. It's expensive. You got to wait in line. You got to deal with all these people. Now, if you live in a mountain town, that was the best part when I lived in Park City was that, hey, I can pick my spots. There's nobody here. It's this time of year. I'll avoid it during the holidays. It's it's a powder day on a Tuesday. I can go at lunchtime and no one's going to be around. But if you don't live there, you can't do that. Yeah. And I don't really understand why I guess I look at the number of like, was it the 6.8 million visits they had in Utah over the last couple of years? Like, who is going, man, let's all go skiing unless you are already a skier. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's something. And I guess they're making the case that it's these icon passes and the epic passes that are allowing all these people to come in from out of state and try it.
Yeah.
If I were going to plan a ski vacation right now, I'd find some like little weird hill in like New York.
Mount Bohemia.
Mount Bohemia in Michigan, right? Yeah. Just like, going to go to a place that's hard to get to, that doesn't get crowded, that's going to be all locals, and just like have a on-mountain experience. I would not go to any one of these places that are on one of these big passes. Just no way.
I think one of the problems that skiing has is that it's easy to do. And you don't forget how, for the most part. I mean, like this is a buddy of mine who's a really good snowboarder and a very good surfer. Who's like me, grew up around, central Northern California, and it's just like we're all crusty and mad about the crowds. And he made the comparison a few weeks back that like surfing is becoming like skiing now. Where like so many people have taken a lesson and so many people have like kind of learned how to do it that kind of everybody surfs like a little bit, like almost not everybody obviously, but like it's not uncommon for people to kind of know how to surf.
No, I know what you mean.
Enough to where they'll like be comfortable enough to like rent a board and go paddle out somewhere. Whereas that never used to be the case. You were either a hardcore surfer or you were a kid learning, and there was really very little in between. The adult learners weren't really a thing. Whereas like with skiing, it's like my wife is a good example. She learned how to ski when she was a kid. Never skis, but like she was in Montana like 10 years ago, and like, oh yeah, I'll go ski like Whitefish or whatever. Like she was with a friend who wanted to ski, and like she hadn't been on skis in 20 years. She was fine.
That's interesting. That's a good point.
So like everybody can do it, and so it's like, it doesn't. It's also isn't like super challenging physically for the most part. So it's not like mountain bike riding. I was thinking about making mountain bike riding in theory is the same deal. Most people can ride a bike, but it's fucking hard to ride uphill, and it's terrifying when you fall. So I think there's still enough of that keeping people away from mountain biking, where mountain biking hasn't gotten so insanely crowded. Whereas skiing, it's like, who doesn't like to sit there at the bar at the end of have après beer and watch people come down the hill? And I'll strap some skis on and go do it too. Like, why not? And like, that's a huge part
there's
of the
a romance
problem.
to it. Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't want to just come off as a hater. I genuinely love skiing.
I wish I knew how to. It's
really fun.
It looks fucking epic.
But it just the things that stack up against you that make it not fun happens really quick at some of these places, and it's just. And for the cost, again, if it's like going to an amusement park. I went to Disney World, Disneyland with the kids last year,
dude,
and it was fun. But when we paid for the like super like, well, no, I guess there you have to like get the reservation system or whatever. But we paid the most you could pay to make it as easy as possible to enjoy the
skip
park.
Ahead in lines and stuff. Can you do that with skiing now? Can you pay to skip ahead in the?
Well, that's what it's got to be headed there if it doesn't already. I'm sure there's some resorts that are doing it. I'm like, just like make it a reservation system. It's already dumb expensive. Like, so if I got to go and spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to go, I'd rather go and know that like I can go and get on the mountain quickly and have fun. And if I have to deal with everybody else, no thanks, man. Like, I'm out.
Pay the ski patrollers part.
Well, yeah. I mean, ultimately, we support the ski patrollers.
This is a Vail-owned resort. Is that right?
It's Vail. I mean, they say they're kind of the guy in the peak rankings video. You play it out, and it's like, what is it going to mean if you do all these things at all the resorts and how it affects the bottom line? Blah 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 blah. Like, sure, but yeah, they had like $230 million in profit last year. You're talking about ski patrol. These, it's not like. Well, we have to close that bar if we don't have a bartender kind of thing. You're talking about ski patrol. Yeah, and people are going to get hurt. It's the most important function on the mountain. Pay them and move on.
And it's not like these are people who are like notoriously demanding high wages so they can live like a cush lifestyle.
Yeah, their price pay is $23 an hour.
Yeah.
In a town that's like dumb expensive to live in. So, all right, well, we support you here, ski patrollers here on the Rock Fight. And also we support Garage Grown Gear, because today's top story, presented by Garage Grown Gear, your one-stop shop for ultralight backpacking gear. Their specialty is small and cottage outdoor brands, hundreds of wildly cool products to help you lighten up your pack. And GGG just put together a list of their top ultralight winter essentials with products like down booties, alpaca base layers made from real alpaca.
Man, down booties.
Insulated pillows. Synthetic jackets, like the best-selling Tora jacket by Enlightened Equipment. Do you know that brand?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. Pot koozies, not puffin drinkware.
Right.
And a whole lot more. Check out the full list in our show notes and discover more incredible brands by heading to garagegrowngear.com. gmail.com.
When I first read down booties, now it occurs to me that like a kind of a after hiking thing you put on your feet when you're chilling at camp. But for a split second, I was like, do they mean like down socks? Like something you'd wear like inside your shoes? Like, holy smokes.
You know someone's tried to make those.
Probably, yeah. Are heated socks a thing yet?
Yeah, I gotta think. Yeah, well, I
have a pair of heated mittens, which I actually really like, but I don't know about heated socks.
Gotta have socks.
I'm sure.
All right, next up, in his recap of running footwear to come out of the running event this past fall for Gear Junkie, journalist Craig Randall mentioned in an article recently that several running footwear brands are attempting to evolve the phrase road to trail to gravel. All right, It's effectively trying to establish a new category of running shoes like we have for cycling called gravel shoes. Craig astutely calls out in his blurb about this on Gear Junkie that while he understands the logic, he also finds it cringy, which is maybe the nicest way I can put it. It is cringy. I mean, this is the rock fight, right? We're here to pick fights, right? Well, I'd like to order a preemptive strike against gravel footwear ever becoming a thing.
This is but for you, this is a bugaboo about the name, right? It's not the idea. Because
you can run in anything.
Yeah.
People run in barefoot, like literally barefoot, and they run in massively overbuilt shoes on a variety of surfaces.
So no, it's
My
not.
one
So
buddy used to
the
run ultras
category, the road to trail category is an issue for you, and I'm assuming the name as well, because you feel like it's just sort of jumping on the gravel bike thing, and it's like a thing we can market and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that one had proved over time that gravel bikes really do have a place.
Yeah,
I mean, there's people who run in all sorts of conditions and all sorts of footwear. We don't need another category. This is just nothing but marketing.
I do kind of feel a little bit like in the bike world, like we still kind of go gravel bikes, huh? Like a little bit. I mean, they're huge. It's
I
a
agree
huge
with that
category.
Too. That's a good point.
But
I can throw some knobby tires on a road bike and be like, I'm fine.
Yeah, it's like I think we're all aware that this was like kind of a marketing push. But
it is.
You know, I had my first thought was similar to yours. But I guess we can agree to disagree here on this. So I run into this all the time.
I'm gonna bring you around on that.
I run into this another pun all the time because I run from my house to the trail. I never drive to the trail, and so like I don't love running. It's a mile to the trail from my house. I don't love running in my Nordas because it's like I don't know how often I can run on the hard pavement before the Vibram starts to wear off, you know? And so I actually have thought a million times, man, it'd be nice to have something that's just like a little bit less aggressive that I'm not quite worried as much about it gripping and sticking to the pavement. So I do kind of get like, and they're overkill. The Nordas, I love them, but they're kind of overkill for the trails I usually run on around here for the most part. I can do just fine in my Hokas that are not really even meant for the trail. As you say, you can run in anything. So I do kind of get it. I don't have a problem with it. I guess this is what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with it.
I think it's just
a
like
it's a niche that kind of makes sense. Now, I agree with you though. You can run in anything. You can run in bedrocks. I would be fine. I could run in my boots and I would be fine. It would suck, but I could do it, and it would probably be in better shape for it. You know?
Would you worry about walking on the road in your boots?
I do kind of. I actually do a little bit. I do.
Right, fair point.
I do. Because it's like I know that pavement wears down lugs faster than anything else.
But it's split. I mean, but what are we doing? Like it's like, yeah,
that's what it's for, though, right? That's
think
the purpose,
about this.
right? It has a use, right? Like, of course, it's going to wear down.
And it's going to wear out.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's going to wear out. I don't think it's going to wear out that
That's
much.
actually, you know, what's funny? Maybe this is more of a sort of a philosophical / personality test than anything else. Because I get so stressed out about using things. Because I guess because I grew up like with not much money and I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop financially or life-wise in general, that like, you know, I have a huge decision to make every time we're going to drive more than 10 miles. Like, which car do we take? Okay, what car do we drive last? Okay, we drove the RAV4. Okay.
I do this too.
Okay, we should balance the miles up by putting it on my truck. It costs more gas-wise, but like it's been sitting for 3 days, so it'll like I'm doing this crazy calculation for anything I'm using, right? Like, ooh, do I need to make this other cup of coffee because the burr grinder is really expensive, and if I like, you know, and so like I do that, and so like with boots and stuff are the same thing. Like I'm like, oh man, I don't want to walk around on the pavement in these things. So I do kind of get it, but I also don't want to live in a world where we have like a fucking quiver of running shoes. Like that's
kind of what I'm getting at. I mean, if you take if it's like 13 miles to the trail and you got a trail running shoe with a softer durometer of the rubber on the outside of your shoulder, I get it. But if it's like a half mile, just relax, just run to the trail. It'll be all right. Or invest the time not in a new category of shoes that is so hyper niche that you can't you don't want to go too far on the trail in those now because those are gravel shoes. Then we need like a butterball turkey like popper thing that something that we can we need an indicator on our shoes of
this is too much.
Too much. You shouldn't run on the road in these anymore.
Well, I think
it's too. I just feel like this is just too much for the range in which you can use shoes and the variety of use cases and how much they all overlap. It's like we don't need it. We just don't need this category.
I also do think that maybe not necessarily. There was a period when gravel bikes first started becoming a thing, and people were kind of experimenting with different bar setups. Like, can you have a flat bar one? And Evil made the Chamois Hagar. Do you remember that bike?
No.
Oh, that thing was sick. I always wanted one, didn't get one. It was drop bar, but it was like crazy. Like it was basically a mountain bike with drop bars, and like this happens in surfing too, where the idea of like a quiver killer starts to come up, and that was kind of what a gravel bike was sort of like people.
It was trying to be, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's not. It ends up being a very specialty thing, and so it's going to be the same thing with shoes. It's not like you're going to buy this and go, well, now I don't need to buy the Nordas, and now I don't need to buy the street dedicated Hokas. I'll just have these. No, you're not. You're going to have those for the 3 trails that are mostly sand whatever, sandy kind of, and then you're going to have your Nordas or whatever you run in Solomon's for rocky, gnarly trails, and then you're going to have your Air Pegasuses for running on the road. It's just going to be another specialty thing. So I don't know.
I complain all the time about how my outsoles and the outsoles of my Ultras wear out running them almost exclusively on trails. Exclusively on trails. I've never run on the road with those shoes, and they wear out super fast. Yeah. On the trail.
I mean, they're going to wear out their shoes. I mean, it's like also you're paying. They're not going to be cheap. So it's like you buy a $200 pair of shoes so that your other $200 pair of shoes doesn't wear out. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Just buy another $200 pair of shoes when the first ones wear out.
I think you made the best point about gravel bikes. You really actually, it doesn't hold a lot of water for very long, right? You really can look at it and be like, yeah, but do we really? You could take a mountain bike or a road bike and make it into a gravel bike. But I kind of get it. Like, you want to shop a gravel bike, it's already set up the way it's supposed to for gravel. Fine.
And you can also modify them and do stuff with them you can't do with shoes, right? Like you can put 650B tires on your gravel bike. Like you can add and change things out to make it a little bit more like single track oriented or more road oriented.
Flat bar, drop bar, or whatever.
But there might be some dirt. These shoes are just gonna. Yeah, I agree. All right, you talked me around it. But I've definitely thought before, and to be honest, I haven't looked hard enough. Like I could probably find a pair of shoes that is like the sweet spot for me already. They probably already exist.
I'm getting mad just thinking about the sales reps pitching it to the retailers and then the shop floor kid pitching it to the consumer of well, what kind of running are you doing? Well, that's actually, if you're running only gravel roads, actually, this is the kind of shoe you should look at. It's like, oh, just stop. I had a buddy who ran ultras and beat up Asics Nimbus gels or whatever.
Yeah.
I
have thought before about the trail runner hiking craze, and it's like, well, hiking and running are different. So you shouldn't be able to hike and trail run in the same shoe. I mean,
but you could.
Of course you can. But it's just
that was the point. Tony Post, who got the Vibram Five Fingers going and then created Topo, right? Athletic. He was famous for running the Boston Marathon in a pair of Rockports because it was a well-constructed shoe. Right? It's kind of like, and he was fine at the end of it. Your Scarpas, you could technically go run a marathon in and probably be
Army
okay.
dudes do. Don't they run in boots?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, like military folks, right?
You know what's funny? For a split second there, I tried to see the other side of our everything is kind of fine, like stop being so specialized sort of thing. That's kind of the rock fight philosophy. For a split
it's
second,
kind of our thing. Yeah.
I tried to go away from it, but you brought me right back in.
Well, before we talk about our last story today, we gotta talk for one more minute about our friends at Feel Goods, because now's the time that those New Year's fitness resolutions are going to start to peter out.
It's 5 days in.
Yeah, it's a thing. So let's talk about one that will keep you going every month of the year. Like we've been telling you guys, there's a willing workout partner for you out there that can help you fuel your 2025 goals. Feel Goods makes it easy to connect with the best nutrition on the planet. We're talking about athlete-approved products, arranged for optimum impact, delivered right to your door. If you want to know how it works, what you do is you call Justin Hausman, and he will tell you exactly, because he's an elite athlete who,
in my own way. Yeah, in my own way. I'd like to think that. Yeah.
No, you go to fuelgoods.com. You assemble your own Fuel Goods box with items right for you. Shop from established sports nutrition brands like Scratch, Honey Singer, Goo, Tailwind, or Real Food Solutions, like Purely Elizabeth, Kodiak, or Ernest Eats. I love Purely Elizabeth, by the way. I ate a lot of their granola.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I knew it sounded familiar. I couldn't remember what they make.
Yeah, it's good. Or if you like, you can also order one of their pre-assorted sports-specific options like the Rider or Runner box, each curated to try and to give you a diverse assortment of items to try. And you can buy something once or set up a subscription. Fuel Goods makes it easy and convenient to get the fuel you need to make sure all of your 2025 adventures go off without a hitch or a bonk. You like what we did there? And right now, you can get free shipping on all orders over $65. So stop what you're doing and head to fuelgoods.com right now. Well, don't stop listening to the podcast. Do it while you're listening to the podcast.
Yeah,
and then so go to fuelgoods.com.
You know, the nice thing about it is like, it's, you know, as someone who's constantly stocking my kids' like snack cupboard, it's like that for a grown up. It's like
I love it when I get a new Fuel Goods box. Like sick, it's so exciting.
And like it makes your ride a little bit cooler or whatever. Ooh, I'm gonna try these like energy gummies on this ride or whatever. It's just nice to have that, and it's just so nice to have your own little like adult friendly. I mean, kids like it too, but you know.
Well, they'll do a custom box for you too, where you like they ask you all these questions and they assemble one for you. Yeah. Which is cool. And the one I came that had a couple had Scratch and some gummies, but then had like beef jerky in it and stuff like that. It was awesome.
Dope. I haven't done that. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool.
All right, last story today, and then we'll do our parting shot.
Speaking of beef jerky.
According to Explorers Web's Lou Bodenheimer, 2 Portland, Oregon men lost their lives after heading into Washington's Gifford-Pinchot National Forest to search for a Sasquatch. Now, the 2 men were 59 and 37. They set out on Christmas Eve and died of exposure due to stormy and cold weather. They were reported missing at about 1 a.m. on the 25th after not returning as planned. Now, I don't think anyone here wants to. It's not. I mean, I guess I don't know what time they set out. But I don't know if they were dead by then, but that's when they were reported missing.
Good point.
Like, we don't want to make light of anyone dying. And if these guys were pursuing a passion, right, we don't want to yuck anyone's yum. We'd say that frequently, I think. I guess I can understand the lengths they'd be willing to go to see their passion come to a satisfying outcome. So personally, I'm curious what you're going to say here. I more broadly speaking to anyone who may be listening to this, we're coming up on 20 years, guys. I'm talking to you people in the audience right now. Humans have been carrying around a video camera in their pocket for nearly 20 years. And I checked today, I Googled this. Right now, over 60% of the worldwide population has a smartphone, right? So if ghosts, aliens, or Bigfoot, any of them were real, we would have undeniable video footage of it by now. Okay?
Don't you want to, I mean, as Fox Mulder said,
do. I want ghosts to be real.
Like,
I
want
them
so
to.
Fucking cool, but at no point.
But someone runs a red light and clips like a cat, and there's 82,000 people posting about it on Blue Sky. If Bigfoot was real, we would know by now. That's all I have to say.
I just want to peek into their heads for a little bit. Like, is the world more magical to them? Like, is there more? Is it like a more romantic, like colorful place that where you're imagining that there are 8 foot tall, like, I don't even, what do we call in Sasquatch? Like a prehistoric sort of human, like rolling
ape man.
Yeah, like. God, that would be amazing. I wish I thought that. I wish I went to the woods and was like, dude, there could be anything in here. There could be dragons. There could be Sasquatch. There could be fairies. Anything. My kids are like that, I guess. They seem to have a really good time.
I guess the plan is to get a picture of it and then prove to the world that it's real?
I suppose. I guess. I don't know. Maybe one of them thought they saw something and they wouldn't let it go. The friend's like, fine, I'll come out with you. I don't know. I'm
with you. I want these things to be real too. Of course you do. It would be super fun if all of a sudden, think about that story. Like, this alien thing exists or Bigfoot exists or irrefutable evidence of ghosts being real.
I remember I went to Loch Ness once and it was a shitty day. And I think it probably mostly is there and like weather wise and like, it's pretty isolated. It's not like a, Lake Tahoe or something. Like, it's pretty isolated. And there were people there. There were like some people on the beach, just like, and I'm like, what do you really?
This is gonna be the time that it just pops up.
It's insane to me. There's a really good. I forget what it's called. There's a great documentary on Netflix. I think it was Netflix. That was ostensibly about Sasquatch, but it was kind of more about like weed farming in Northern California.
Oh,
But-
I know what you're talking about.
And-
Yeah.
They even have like the guys on it that like staged the famous shot of the Bigfoot like walking through something. You know, the guy was like,
Yeah.
that was my Bigfoot suit. Like the guys that did it are on there. And it's just like, I don't know. I just don't. I've never ever believed in anything weird like any of that at all. And I want to, but man,
I mean, look how, much we struggle with religion as humans and the dogma of it, and not, and just questioning whether, well, maybe it is real. And then combine that with like what you observe and your kind of, formative, humans in your house, the little children who are just liars.
well, they also just don't know.
No, but we just are programmed to lie. So like you combine those things and people are gonna be like, oh yeah, no, I'm going to put on a suit and go walking through the woods and convince people. I'm going to put up the TikTok of like, that might have been a ghost. Let's, like people are going to mislead and make you want to believe in this stuff because we do want to believe that it's real.
I mean, I will say that I don't think that there's any chance they've ever visited here. I do think that there are aliens. I mean, I think there's probably like untold amounts of
just the odds are in favor of that, right?
But I also don't think they've ever like come anywhere near Earth. I mean, even like with the Pentagon, like, oh yeah, there's actual UFOs. Like, well, that's obviously the fucking drone or some weird shit or some jamming technology you haven't learned about yet, or that you don't want to tell us about.
Is it the Fermi paradox or the whole thing
The
where
Fermi
it's
paradox,
like
where
we're like
basically,
we're
where's
too
everyone?
far apart from any actual civilization?
The Fermi paradox actually, I could be wrong.
Oh, that means we're the only ones.
Yes.
The Fermi paradox.
Fermi paradox is like if they're this many, surely we would have seen them by now. So maybe we are the only ones.
Right. Sorry. There's another one. I forget what it's called. Where it's like we are too far apart from any other civilization. By the time we would evolve to the point to have the technology to reach that, we will have gone
killed
extinct.
Ourselves. Or totally.
Yeah.
Which is honestly
same for them. Right?
Probably the most logical outcome. Or it's just like it's just kind of sad, but like you can't really travel faster than light, or like wormhole travel will never be possible. Sorry,
right?
So we're never going to meet them, but they're surely out there, but we're never going to see them.
Yeah. So to that point, just go skiing. That's what.
I mean, in
your grapple shoes.
I didn't like. I heard about this story. I would, I don't know. It's not like there's a whole bunch of digging in that needs to get done, but it seems cold up there.
I do feel bad. I mean, like, oh, hey man, let's go do this on Christmas. This will be fun. The whole thing, and then just tragic ending for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that it was actually on Christmas. There's no Sasquatch. I mean, I'll just save everybody the trouble now. If you're thinking about going out up there to check it out, there isn't one. There's none.
Last thing before we get to the parting shot, did you see Joe Biden sign the Explorer Act?
I did.
I
did.
How much do you think we played into that happening? Were we significant or really significant?
I did talk to him about it a little bit. So I don't know.
Joe, it's Justin.
Yeah, we go back. We go way back.
I just talked to Jessica on the podcast. You need to sign it, Joe.
I mean, it would be interesting to see how much of it is potentially going to be unraveled by the Republican administration coming in, but I don't know how much can be. We talked to her about it a little bit. I think this one, because this is law. This is like signed into law. But I'm sure. It's like, what does that mean anymore?
Good point.
Honestly, like, what does that mean? Like, you just like if I went to Yosemite and someone's like setting up a drill into like, oh, we found some oil, I'd be like, well, you can't do that. I'd be like, oh, I bet you're right. And here comes it's like, what? Okay, well, it's illegal, but sure. I don't even know anymore.
It's gonna be an interesting 4 years.
It sure is. Yeah.
All right, man. It's time for the parting shot.
Who goes first?
I don't remember who went first last. Did you go first last? I
think you did.
Oh, you go first.
All right. So I go back and forth on e-bikes, on e-mountain bikes. I really do. And I think I've finally. God, I'm not going to get rid of them. I have one now. I'm gonna have it as long as I can. But I'm finally coming around to it's not good for me to have it. Like officially, because it's like I went for a ride on Saturday. There's no reason for me to take the e-bike. None. But I took it. And like I've been feeling out of shape lately. I haven't been doing that much. I haven't been running. I haven't been lifting weights. I haven't really been doing a lot over the last few weeks for lots of reasons. And I'm like, I'm going to go for a ride. And I'm just like, I'm about 4 blocks away before I even realize, like, what the, why am I on the e-bike? Like, what am I even doing? Like, there's
Didn't
no
even
reason.
think about it. You just took it.
Just like I knew, I knew, like, I'm going to go for a ride. I'm going to take the e-bike. And then I'm like, what? I'm not doing laps on some, like, there's no reason for this. The trail I'm going to ride, I've always only ridden analog. I have no idea why I'm bringing this e-bike. And I don't know what the parting shot is here because I don't want to get rid of them. But man, there needs to be, more reckoning about what it means. I don't know. But like maybe it's just my own parting shot. Maybe I just need to make myself a sign that's like, unless you are riding a particular trail that requires it, do not ride the e-bike. It's just it's a drug. It's a problem. I need help.
Having tested out the Turn Aurochs there, and I got to write about that for the newsletter. But
that's a different situation though. That bike is not for anything other than transportation.
Totally. I mean, and they say you can like go mountain biking on it now. I don't know why you would want to. I don't understand that. And that's kind of my review of that but being the first time I've really ever spent any time on an e-bike and feeling putting it in the turbo, and it's all pedal assist. Right. But when you put it in the turbo mode and you're going uphill and you're like, oh, yeah. I see how, if you only ever knew that, and then you put someone on an analog bike, forget it. There's
a woman up here that is, I think she's like 50, and she's set like every FKT e-bike wise on all the trails around here, and she learned on an e-bike. Like that's just how she started, So she's not going to analog. Doesn't matter how fit it would make you. I just wish we hadn't gone down that road.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to work from the library probably for the rest of the day. I'll probably take my e-bike to the library because it's just transportation, right? Just down, I could walk, but just.
Wouldn't it be funny that if like the one domino that fell that led to like, the human world in the movie WALL-E, where all the little cars are all fat and in the carts, was e-biking.
That would be a really funny story to write. I mean, it's just
something
like,
healthy that led to that.
There are times when I've been on it and I'm like, if it's for a purpose, like I've got 20 minutes and I know I can sneak this trail in, great. Or we're gonna ride this trail that is such a burly climb, like oh my god, like I have to. It's a hike a bike otherwise, and I don't have all day, great. Or I want to ride this one technical trail 5 times in the next 2 hours, great. But like Saturday is such a great example. There was no reason for me to be on. My wife went for a ride later that day on her analog bike, and I'm just like, what? Why am I doing, And I was like kind of tired. I got a workout in, I guess.
Yeah.
Just didn't feel
easing
good.
back into it. You had a couple weeks off.
That's it though. I don't need to do that. That's the problem. I could have eased back into it by riding slower on my analog bike.
All right. Well, remember it next time when you go this afternoon.
I'm still going to ride the e-bike, I think. I need help.
The drug's a good one. Yeah. It is kind of like a drug.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little hooked on the juice. All right, well, today my parting shot is saying happy trails to South Sound Running, which South Sound Running is a small chain of specialty run shops in the South Puget Sound region of Washington. South Sound opened in 1998, and founders Greg Klein and Joan Marchioro are now retiring and have sold South Sound to a pair of local Fleet Feet owners. As such, South Sound, I say sadly, will be converted to Fleet Feet shops. No disrespect to Fleet Feet, but I like the personality of the local name. Yeah. Well, they're franchised, but still, I just like the idea of South Sound existing on its own. But the reason why it's notable for me is my first ever trip as a sales manager was after I was hired by ProBar, and I went to tour accounts in the Puget Sound area with the sales agency I had hired in that region. And after being picked up at SeaTac, the first shop we went to was South Sound in Tacoma. We met with Greg. I'm pretty sure he ended up placing an order. I can't really remember, but I do remember that shop and that visit. And even though, like I said, Fleet Feet has a great brand and does a wonderful job serving the run community, I'm just a little sad learning the South Sound is going away. But,
cool
kudos to them. 27-year run. Looks like they are going out on their own terms. So, but we're going to pour a little out today for South Sound Running. The running community is a little sadder, a little less colorful today without South Sound. And it's funny, the amount of stores I visited as a sales manager, I couldn't tell you, but it's like it's your first one. We're going from the airport to that shop. So when I saw they're closing, I'm like, bummer. I'm getting old.
Is that what that means?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Memories.
Everything. At a certain point, everything reminds you that you're getting old. My next parting shot is going to be about getting old.
All right, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Hey, we want your emails. Like we said, send them to myrockfight@gmail.com. Come back on Friday for my conversation with Matt Powell. Come back next Monday for, I don't know what we're going to talk about then, but we'll be talking about something. We'll be talking about something next Wednesday as well. This is the cadence around here, guys. It never ends. But the Rock Fight's a production of Rock Fight LLC. For Justin Hausman, I'm Colin Truth. Thanks for listening. And he's here to take us out. He's not going away. It's Krista Makes. He's going to sing the Rock Fight song. We'll see you next time, Rock Fighters.
Peace.
Peace.